It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trataros, John Meleka, and Raisi on the beat. Let's go.
What's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And what means always my buddy, my coach, my pal, the man with a plan, the one and only, the one who I get to be, the one I'm blessed, man. I'm just blessed to have this man with me to sink into sorrow, all right? Misery, disappointment, you know what it is. John Meleka, everybody. John, how are you doing today? What's going on, my man?
Good, man. Good. Back after a late night. That Knicks Golden State game. We had that pod after that for that rapid reaction after Steph broke that record. I was at MSG. But we're back at it, man. We're on to the Jets, and we're on to Jets versus Miami. And the Jets are out of the playoffs, unfortunately. And it's just another day in the cycle of being a Jets fan. You know, I'm really happy we have our guest on today because he gets it. He understands. He's with us. He's going to be able to, take us through what's remaining of this season. Now that we're out of the playoffs, what we're looking at, what we're looking forward to. And honestly, unfortunately / fortunately, the draft. Like, we have a lot of picks in it. It sucks that we're always looking forward to it as soon as the weeks hit double digits almost. But here we are, man. Here we are. I'm ready to get this going. Basketball season's about to start. Christmas. All right. And that means NFL season's about to end, unfortunately, for us as Jets fans.
Unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time. Because I won't even say I want to see next season, but I need to detox. I need to detox. But John, we're burying the lead. Let's bring in our phenomenal guest. Everyone, it's a returning guest. This man is a legend in just all the sports media on YouTube. All right. He covers the Mets, the Knicks, the Jets. All right. You know him. It's Richie Mobele. All right. Jets media, Knicks media, Mets media. He gets us, man. He gets us. Richie, how are you doing today, man? How are you feeling?
Alex, John, always a pleasure to be on your guys' show. You guys, you're doing a great job. Jets Knicks podcast. I'll never forget when you guys first reached out to me and I'm like, wait a second, there's a podcast about my two teams. Like, let's go. And the first time I had a great time. So I'm so happy to be back on here, talk some Jets Knicks. I'm going to use this as my therapy session because I'm not talking to my audience. I'm talking to your audience. So you're going to see a different side of Richie today. I'm just really letting loose of how I really feel because I thought the Knicks would be, helping me out in my sorrows with the Jets, but it's quite opposite. So I'm excited to dive into what's going on with these Jets and the Knicks, and always a pleasure to be on with you guys.
Richie, it's a pleasure to know you, to work with you. We've been on your channel a few times. You're over here. Look, man, we get it. We understand each other, right? We're going to lead off with the Jets today because we got that matchup coming up against the Miami Dolphins. But look, as I told you offline, all right, grab the cup of coffee. We don't need although I said your last name. No one has to give their last name. Sit down. This is anonymous. We all could be in our feelings today. It's all right. So Richie, let's start it off, man. Let's kick this thing off. Jets this season. We came in here with when we last had you on. We came in here thinking that we understand this is a rebuild, a true rebuild that is going to take time. We got to be patient for this team, and we were optimistic of what we were going to see from Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, and all these guys. And some of it's been panning out, but the team play has been inconsistent. And we were all in here thinking about the defense. So what are your thoughts overall on this team so far up until this point?
Yeah, man, this has been one roller coaster season for the Jets. It started off with, if you want to break down the first couple of weeks, it was the defense that was carrying us. And we thought the offense was holding us back. And Zach Wilson was having his rookie struggles early on, which was expected as a rookie. And we're like, calling for Mike LaFleur's head earlier on. All the Jets fans are like, yo, why is he our offensive coordinator? Doesn't know how to do anything. And then we hit the bye week. Zach Wilson goes down. The defense was looking good. They were looking great by any means, but they were exceeding all of our expectations. The secondary included. Bryce Hall, still to this day, is playing really good football. And I think that Jets fans can say that we found our starter outside cornerback next year. But we also need to get a starter in this offseason to pair up with Bryce Hall. But a lot of positives on the defensive side of the ball in the first part of the season, offense, not so much. And then all of a sudden, we hit a crazy moment where the defense looked like the worst Jets defense I've seen in my lifetime. And I'm a young Jets fan, and I'm used to the Jets defense being their identity, their backbone throughout the past decade or so, no matter who was the head coach. And Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded guy, and Jeff Ulbricht's the guy that's playing, calling the plays. And the defense all of a sudden just cannot do anything. And I feel like that comes down to obviously injuries. That plays a big part of it. But at the end of the day, there's some times where we're giving up like 40-plus points, and it's just becomes inexcusable. And then the crazy thing about it is the defense was looking so bad, but then the offense started to really thrive. Zach Wilson goes down. Mike LaFleur moves into the booth. We have the Mike White game. The Mike White era comes out of nowhere. I was actually at that game, which was awesome. And then the offense for the next 3 weeks straight was like the best offense in football. If you look at the stats in terms of yards per game and points and all these crazy things, and Jets fans are like, what? I guess we needed LaFleur in the booth at the whole time. Like Mike LaFleur needs to be in the booth. So this season has just been all the way up and down, way more down than up. And then when our defense started to struggle, our offense was looking good, but now where we're at right now, it seems like both sides of the ball are struggling, and the injuries, I think, is a big time factor. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous what's happening, because the biggest positives to take away from the season so far for me in particular is the foundation is being built specifically on offense. Joe Douglas had an absolute home run in the draft class in 2021 with Elijah Vera-Tucker, with Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter. Zach Wilson we'll get into later on, and I think that, he's probably the most important piece of this draft class, not to mention the defensive guys we got in the back end, like Michael Carter II, even Brandon Echols is showing some flashes. But the foundation on offense is something that Jets fans have been waiting for so long. I mean, the amount of times that I've wanted the Jets to find a running back that is so talented late in the draft, the amount of times I want to see a wide receiver get drafted and actually look like a stud. And we got that. Elijah Moore is looking like an actual wide receiver that's not going to be good in this league. He has potential to be great. And unfortunately, the Jets' luck, he's on IR. Same with Michael Carter. Michael Carter has back-to-back-to-back breakout games. He's on the IR. So that's just the way the Jets is. And then, of course, Corey Davis is out for the season. So all in all, I just feel like what these offensive young pieces are showing me personally, and Elijah Vera-Tucker, Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter, those three are giving me a lot of hope for the foundation being built on offense. But the only issue is the most important piece of that puzzle is Zach Wilson, and he is definitely struggling as a rookie, and Jets fans have their concerns. And if he's the franchise quarterback, then that draft class is going to be, the reason why the Jets are good in the future, as we hope. But at the end of the day, I can't say with a straight face that Zach Wilson's our franchise quarterback until he proves it.
Yeah. You said a lot of things on point. I definitely agree with the roller coaster part. This has been up and down, emotions all over the place. And I really like the Mike White Hall of Fame game that we got really out of nowhere. This really stamps a true season in typical Jets fashion, if I do say so myself. But I want to elaborate more on Zach Wilson. And John, I want you to chime in on this as well. Richie, are you concerned with Zach Wilson right now, or do you think things will turn around? Do you think things will be fine in the future? John and I, when we talked Knicks last season, I was a little skeptical about Obi Toppin, and John was like, he just needs an off season. All right. He just needs an off season to come around. I love the Obi Toppin jersey. Love the city editions. I got my Derrick Rose, but this is a Jets episode. Got to change it. Got to change it to number 10 in the back. It's all good. It's all good. All good. So yeah, John would be like, he just needs an off season. Now it's my turn. I'm saying, John, relax, man. Zach Wilson needs an off season. All right. He needs an off season. How are you feeling about Zach Wilson so far?
Yeah, I think it'll be way too premature to write him off as a bust right now. I think that how many games he played? 7 or 8. Obviously, if you look at the numbers, he's not doing that good statistically. He has 6 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground, and 11 interceptions, and the completion percentage is really bad. But that doesn't mean that he did not show flash of potential of why he was the second overall pick. And that's what drives me crazy when I see Jets fans just saying that Zach Wilson has shown no flashes. He's a terrible quarterback, this, and that. Like, we have a young kid coming out of BYU trying to learn the speed of the NFL. And now what he's dealing with, the injuries around him, is definitely not helping him out. And I feel like what Zach Wilson is very unique, that is like pretty remarkable, is his development kind of needs to go backwards, because he can make the big time plays. He can do the crazy stuff where you're like, wow, he has talent, like that Tennessee Titans game, for example, but he's struggling with the easy stuff. He's struggling with the layups. He's struggling with the mechanics. And I feel like that gives me optimism that if he does have a full offseason of work, like you mentioned, that can be fixed, because I feel like if it was the other way around where he could do all the intermediate throws, like, yeah, it's easy. But when it comes to that next level stuff, if that's not in his arsenal, for example, like Sam Darnold, Sam never really had that ability to throw the ball 60 yards down the field. He never had that instinctual talent, that golden arm that Zach has. I think Zach Wilson, it's all mental right now. It's all confidence. Whenever I see Zach Wilson go out there, I feel like he's very indecisive with the ball, and that comes with experience. That comes with a lot of, playing time in this league. If you go watch his BYU tape, obviously he's going up against lesser opponents, but the difference between BYU Zach and Jets Zach right now that I notice is the swagger, the confidence. When he goes out there in BYU, he just exuberates, like he knows he's going to light him up. And yes, I know the competition has a big reason for that. But when Zach Wilson finds that inner confidence and finds that swagger and has that, the game speeds slows down for him, that's when we're going to see Zach take that next step. Now, we're going to see that this year. I don't think so. I think he's going to have a really interesting finish off to the year, because that first half against the Eagles was extremely promising. And then the second half, he didn't even get the chance to get back in rhythm because the defense was just atrocious. And then obviously this past game was just really bad in terms of timing with his receivers and inaccurate passes. He did not turn the ball over, which is a positive for the first time. But I'm not out on Zach Wilson at all. I think it'll be way too premature to do that. I know Jets fans are very reactive, and they want Saleh gone after year one. They want Ulbrich gone. They want Zach gone. They want Joe Douglas gone. And it's like, I'm not someone to preach patience, because I understand that Jets fans, especially older Jets fans and myself, have been suffering for 50 years. So I'm not going to sit here and say, you got to be patient and trust the process. Because at the end of the day, we've been patient for so long. But the reality is we're in year number 1 with this new regime. And in my opinion, I think that this regime has that long-term vision where you cannot really, judge them until year number 2. I think next year in the system is where we can really, really judge Robert Saleh as a head coach, Zach Wilson as a quarterback, and this entire coaching staff and players around him.
All right. I agree with a lot of that. John, what about you? Before I start giving my takes.
You call me Mr. Optimism. Richie is really hyped about Zach Wilson, and honestly, I can't blame him, because at this point, we really don't have another choice. Like, no matter how many draft picks we have, we can't make a quarterback in the lab. Out of college, there's no quarterback that's going to save us. There's no veteran free agent quarterback that's going to save us, and there's nobody we're going to trade for that's going to save us. So we have all our eggs in the Zach Wilson basket, and we better be satisfied with it. And to be out with him after, 7 games is utterly ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insane. And when you look at it, forget the statistics. Just throw it out of your head for a second. He played well last week, and then, as Richie mentioned, he was on the field for 70 seconds in the third quarter. And by the time he was back on in the fourth quarter, he's already out of the game because of the defense. I mean, to be out on a quarterback 2 weeks after PCL, finally looking like he has his legs under his shoulders a little bit, like he's not kind of scared to do anything. Yeah, I have gripes with him. I feel like, he could have finished off that run last week and maybe not slid like in a celebration when he kind of, gave up a little bit too early for no reason. Yeah, I have gripes with him. Am I annoyed with him that he can't hit a screen route? Sure, but I'm also annoyed that Ty Johnson can't catch. You know what I mean? I'm also annoyed that we have a lot of drops on this team. Denzel Mims can't catch. Corey Davis this year really couldn't catch. And when he did, sometimes he fumbled. I mean, at the end of the day, the Jets stink, and it's really tough to say, yeah, that's Zach Wilson's fault. Because when I ask you, okay, what do the Jets need? If you say quarterback before the first 10 things, then you have no idea what's going on with this team. Like, if you think that the drop off from our, I don't know, right guard to the next person's right guard, and when you compare our quarterback to the next person's quarterback, I mean, it's not even close. Zach Wilson could make the throws that all the quarterbacks and all the top 10, 15 quarterbacks in the NFL can. Our right guard can't guard anything that the top 10 or 15 right guards are doing. Neither can our tight end. Neither can our wide receivers. Neither can our safeties. Neither can our linebackers. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad at the end of the day. I know we all look at the Ravens and say, hey, they had injuries, and so look what they're doing. Yeah, look what they're doing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really off on Zach Wilson. I'm not off on the Jets. However, at some point, we have to start holding them accountable. I don't know when that is. Maybe when Joe Douglas actually has an offseason, maybe when Zach Wilson has a full offseason. But it's hard for me to put a stamp on anything. Like I'm optimistic. I'm excited. What's going to happen when we actually have a linebacker and a safety on the field? You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen when Mekhi Becton comes back? Remember that guy? He hasn't been playing all year. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped to see, the trajectory of the Jets team. The only thing I'm not hyped about is the rest of the season, dude. I am done with the season. Just wrap it up under a bow and just get it out of my face. I don't even this Dolphins game. I could not care less about this Jets Dolphins game. Like, there's nothing positive that's going to come out of you. If Zach Wilson comes out and has 7 touchdowns and 600 yards, I'll be like, all right, who cares? No joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is that going to do for me? But of course, that's not going to happen. But I don't know. This game means to me, I guess there's some pride and hope in the Jacksonville game. There's, of course, me wanting to hurt Tom Brady, in the Tampa Bay game. I don't care. I'll say it out loud. No problem. I hate that guy. But other than that, I'm just done with this year.
I feel you, man. And before I get my take, let me make sure to get off this live ad read, everybody. Okay, guys, as you know, this podcast, we've partnered with FanSided, which is also Minute Media. And if you know who Minute Media also owns, it's probably another publication they like, the Players Tribune. Okay. And over at the Players Tribune, they got a podcast. You probably know this podcast as the Knuckleheads Podcast. Okay. They bring on some of the best NBA players, past and present, to have totally unguarded conversations about sports, culture, and basketball nostalgia. All right. You know who the hosts are. It's Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. All right. They're in their 7th season of doing this podcast, and they brought in guests like Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Sue Bird, and DeMar DeRozan. They'll also bring on other special guests, such as musicians and entertainers. So make sure to go over to check their podcast out. They're on all streaming platforms. All right. Now, back to our conversation.
Yo, Darius Miles, Players Tribune article, really good. You should definitely check that out. And honestly, the Demaryius Thomas one was really good too, that he wrote about his mom a couple years back. Both of those, definitely check those out on Players Tribune. Really good.
And RIP to DT, okay? Because we'd even get to talk about that, all right? But my take on this, I agree with both of you, and I understand both sides of this, right? I'm with Richie where I'm optimistic on Zach Wilson. I'm optimistic what we're seeing from this offense. I like what we saw from all these guys, especially the left side of the line. I can't wait to have Mekhi Becton back because that left side seems like it's going to be impenetrable. Okay. Michael Carter, he gets more and more patient in finding the holes and making the right reads. And it just sucks, man, that he got injured when we need a running back. And you see what he could do in space too, man, on checkdowns and swing passes. That's what we need right now. Just easy stuff. And then Elijah Moore just starting to figure it out. It's all starting to click. You see that route running, the separation that he gets. We didn't have any of that last week. None whatsoever. And it was certainly missed.
Finally, a second-round pick, Alex.
Denzel Mims, I don't know what that – I still can't get over that foot drill. That foot drill is just burning in the back of my brain. Just burns in the back of my brain.
Richie, did you see it?
Of course.
Yeah, tough. Tough.
What are your thoughts, man? I want to know your thoughts.
On Denzel Mims or that video of Denzel Mims?
That video. If you want to get both, you can get both before I keep going.
I was one of the biggest Denzel Mims hype train ever because I've been waiting for a second-round wide receiver to become a stud for so long. And thank you, Elijah Moore, for breaking the curse. But, man, I don't know what's going on with Denzel. I think it's all mental with him because there's no doubt he's got physical talent. There's something wrong with his heart in terms of, like, his intensity or passion for the game or a will to win or –
He hates the Jets.
Yeah, he lacks lacks heart. Like, if you're going on the practice field and doing what you're doing by literally just, like, dancing, like, I can do better footwork than that. Like, you see Braxton Berrios just, just like an absolute stud. And then you see Mims just, like, it's just to the point where how can you defend this guy anymore? I'm out here tweeting, like, oh, Corey Davis is out. Denzel Mims, time to shine. All right, Mims, let's see what you got. He goes out there to back-to-back boneheaded penalties, bench for the second half. Like, I'm done with Mims, man. I really, I've tried to hype him up. I've tried to be optimistic about him, and he's still got opportunities ahead of him because we're still banged up at the wide receiver spot, so anything can happen. But at the end of the day with him, you guys remember in training camp and early in the season where we're like, oh, this coaching staff are morons.
Yep.
What are they doing with Mims?
Yeah,
Well,
I was part of that trade.
well, yeah, me too. Coaching staff was right because Mims is probably showing them that he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. So it's that simple. I feel like it's all mental with him where he just doesn't have the mental like sense of urgency that you need from a guy. Like, for example, Elijah Moore, what makes him so great potentially is his mental ability. You hear what A.J. Brown has to say about him. Even OBJ before the season said that I wouldn't be shocked if if Elijah Moore is in like rookie of the year or even offensive player of the year. Like it's all mental with football, and Elijah Moore's got it and Denzel doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll ask you this for both of you. Is Denzel Mims the Mitchell Robinson of this team?
No,
he's the Kevin Knox of this team.
Oh, man.
Mitch is better than that. Even
Yeah.
though Mitch is going through a little, obviously. My boy
Yeah,
Kevin
dude.
Knox out here draining threes when he get the opportunity, though.
I'm playing D, man. His hand was in the passing lane last night. We'll get to that with the Knicks segment, but
All right. I'm just talking about the mental aspect. That's really what I was going for.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Denzel
yeah,
Mims.
no.
I was going
he's
for-
more like Kevin Knox, dude. He just sits there all day, and then he's called upon sometimes. And at least Kevin Knox comes and hits a three or two. As Richie alluded to, when Denzel Mims comes in, he gets 2 penalties and gets benched for the rest of the game.
And then
You know,
DJ
it's like-
Montgomery, the practice squad receiver, gets all the playing time over him.
Yeah, it's like
Unbelievable.
it's like Kevin Knox comes in and gets a technical foul, or like a flagrant 2, and Tim's like, "Yo, what are you doing? Go sit down, dude."
Oh, man. It's great. But getting back to what I was saying about Zach Wilson, I understand the concerns. Like we talked about it, John, multiple times on this podcast. He's got to make the easy throws, especially the check downs. He's got to make those swing passes, the 5 to 10 yards, the easy like loft passes. You got to complete them. That's concerning when you're not. But it's mental, man. And I think, as Richie alluded to, it's confidence, which goes back to your mental. Like you have to be firm in the decision making that you're doing, and that goes back to his decision making too. The hesitancy to make some of these passes. He's not trusting his eyes, right? And I think that's where you need an offseason. You need an offseason to just stick with a coach and just everything changed. Like I can't remember the name of the QB coach they were supposed to have, but he dies at the beginning of the season, man. Like Nab passes away, man. That's supposed to be the guy, and he's probably working with him, and everything changes, right? And then I can only imagine what happens when you lose someone like that, and you're trying to get adjusted to the NFL, and now everyone's like in flux, like, holy shit, what do we got to do now to make sure this kid's on right? And we've seen the flashes here and there. I like the Eagles game. I think that was the more complete game of being a composed quarterback. Like the Titans game was fun. Don't get me wrong. That was a lot of improv that was just a complete showcase of the improv. Can't say the word improv that he can do. It happens to me, man. My mind's thinking too quick. I can't even say the word. But we saw like a really good, like poised quarterback performance when he had the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think he would have been better last week too against the Saints if he had some wide receivers that he was more comfortable with, like Elijah Moore
injury is a big deal.
Yeah,
Big deal.
It is.
But it's not serious long term though.
No.
No.
Just in terms of Zach Wilson's development and his play now, I meant.
Yeah. I agree.
For sure. So that's why I think he needs an offseason. I totally get the concerns and that how it's just like, it's just oh right, there we go. There we go. Getting the change. I'm sure he'll get the change right back once we talk Knicks too. But
yeah, man, we gotta wish our boy best of luck. We needed him for the last 2 weeks.
That's a
I
fact.
love that.
I love
Michael Carter. Michael Carter's coming back too this week.
This week, let's go.
Let's go. We need
Right time
the
for fantasy
offense.
playoffs.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started on fantasy. I can't do this. I'm so angry. Just you have no idea how angry I am.
Me too.
But he needs these guys back. He's gonna need Michael Carter back, Elijah Moore back, just to even get back in that rhythm. And I'm confident that he can be I think he could be a good quarterback in this league. I think he can be. I don't want to like create these expectations. I know where everyone on Twitter was having that debate. Aaron Rodgers is the ceiling. No, it should be Derek Carr. I'm not going to go with that. if he could be a good, sustainable quarterback, like not even Aaron Rodgers, that's a big accomplishment for this team. Big accomplishment. And I think he can be. You just need to give him that right environment. I think we're doing that by giving the offensive weapons as you see that they're slowly developing. We just got to fix that. Get GVR out of here. All right. Because that's who John was alluding to as a guy who's playing below league average as a right guard.
And then shout out for Joe Douglas for knowing that, going out there and getting LDT for free. And he plugged him in at right guard and been playing pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's
like Douglas knew that. He deserves a lot of credit because Jets fans knew how bad Greg Van Roten is. And for the Jets GM to understand that and make a move like that by getting a guy for free, essentially, because we got Dan Brown back on the team, that's a very underrated move, in my opinion.
It is an underrated move. And I think people got to be singing praises to see a better offensive line play because it has been better. It's like Zach has actually had time to make throws until GVR comes back in and you're like, oh my God, this fucking guy. But yeah, I'm confident in Zach that he can be a good guy. I just think he needs another offseason. But I feel you, John. I feel you, bro. Don't think I don't feel you. I feel the pain.
Doesn't have well, listen, man. He doesn't have an offseason. He has 3 days until he's got to play the Miami Dolphins, and he's a 10-point dog. And
finally, we're getting lines that are reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, Vegas is adjusted because I don't know what 5 points to the Saints. I don't know what that was all about. That was the easiest bet I've ever made in my life was taking Saints. But that's neither here nor there.
The Dolphins defense scares me with Zach Wilson out there.
Especially Demario Davis. He licks his chops every time he gets to play the Jets. But finally, the line is adjusted to the Jets. It's 10 points. And Zach Wilson's going to have to come and put in a competent game. And listen, I'm sick of the Aaron Rodgers talk, okay? Listen, when you do the top 10 QBs, I think it rounds off with Lamar Jackson being like number 10, like him, Josh Allen, maybe like the 9-10 spot. All Zach Wilson has to do is really hit 11 through 15. And really, there's a huge drop-off after number 10. Like for 11 through 15, like that's where Tannehill is hanging out. That's where, Derek Carr is. Like he can hang with those guys. There's no reason why he's not a top 15 quarterback, from the 11 through 15 range. And this is the week where you start growing, right? Because the season's over. You have nothing to lose. What scares me is I think there's this saying, right, that if you start thinking while you're playing football or you start hesitating, you're going to get hurt. And is he over this season already? That's my question. Like, does he care anymore about this year? Is he just like, yo, let me just finish these couple of games. I just don't want to get hurt. Like, we'll just make some throws. We win, we lose. It doesn't really matter. Or do you guys think he's going to go out hard for this Miami Dolphins? Like, do you think the Jets want to win this game? Or does this Dolphins game not really matter?
I hope, because if it's the other way, what you're saying, I'd be really concerned about Zach mentally and this entire franchise their approach, because obviously it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things of this year. Playoffs is off the table, but what they're trying to do right now is build a winning culture. And that's why when I get people ask me oh, Richie, shouldn't we lose out? draft. We have to be the highest draft pick. I'm like, no. I can give 2 craps about where we draft. We got 2 picks and potentially 2 of them the top 10, top 15 guaranteed. And we need to sustain wins to even though a win doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, obviously, but we got such a young team that needs to learn how to win in this league, because we're learning that it's not easy to win in this league. And we got rookies playing, we got young people playing, we got a young coaching staff that needs to learn in-game decisions, clock management, timeouts, just all these little things that this entire Jets organization, from the coaching staff to players, need to develop winning habits. And I hope Zach Wilson is taking this game seriously, that this game, he's playing for himself. He needs to really hone in, because I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of things I'm concerned about with Zach Wilson. I know I said a lot of optimistic things, but there is a little sense of concern with me personally with his footwork and his inability to hit the easy throws, because you bring up Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's trying to be Aaron Rodgers, and that's not doing good. Like if you look at his footwork, like he's like fading away on his throws, like he's not stepping into it.
Yep.
And that's what Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes gets away with. And yeah, I think Wilson maybe have the talent to get away with it, but those two guys had I mean, Rodgers had 3 years under like Brett Favre. Mahomes had 1 year of like sitting back. So Wilson just thrown in the fire. He's trying to be this guy that can throw off his back foot, rely on his arm, and be all this like mechanically loose quarterback. Well, no, you got to be able to, step back 1, 2, 3, hitch, get the ball out, timing. And that's what's really going to separate Zach Wilson of a franchise quarterback or not, because the amount of times I see him fade away with that back foot, not step in and drive, it concerns me. And I saw the same thing with Sam Darnold. And I really hope that he fixes that. And I don't think it's going to be fixed this season. I think we're going to see sloppy footwork throughout the rest of this season. The offseason is going to be a big time factor of him, developing the proper footwork mechanics. I think that's a really big issue that's concerning me personally.
I agree with that 100%. And I was thinking the same thing. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was thinking the same thing when I was watching him against New Orleans. I'm like, why are you throwing like backwards sidearm, like trying to fling it over? And like that is, one, a good way to throw an interception. 2, inaccurate passes, just first and foremost. Like they're in the same category, but you're not getting anything done by doing that. And I think that's correctable. We've seen guys improve on their footwork, but it's trusting his eyes. I think this is just a big rookie thing, because I think we got hyped. We got hyped for Zach Wilson because we have Tony Romo and we have Chris Sims saying, oh, this guy's going to be the next Pat Mahomes.
Same thing with Sam Darnold, man. I fell for it with Sam. I really did. Who was it that was like hyping up Sam? Like there's a lot of people, but go on. Even Tony Romo said that about Sam.
Yeah, no, like, and to get like Mahomes, Rodgers comparisons, you hear this and then you're like, oh, we should see that now, because those guys did it as soon as they touched the field. Granted, as you point out, Richie, Rodgers had 3 years behind Brett Favre. You had Pat Mahomes a year behind Alex Smith. Zach Wilson's being thrown to the Wolves day one. It's just so unlikely for someone to come out here as a quarterback and do all of those things like day one. It's very rare for a quarterback to do that. And this is where guys like that just it's twofold. It's for us as the fans too to understand, oh, they're talking about the long term, that this guy has the potential to be that guy. He's not going to be that guy day one. He has the potential to be that guy. But then it's also on the other side saying, to clarify, like, yes, at some point he can clear this, not day one. Not day one will this guy be another Romo or not Romo, another Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes. Okay, and we have more Mahomes tweets going out there. We had all this stuff. We're being thrown off platform, which I'm still fucking confused about. I know what it is, but it just irritates me.
What do you guys need to see this week from Zach versus the Dolphins?
I think that we really need to establish a run game in this one with Michael Carter coming back in particular, because the Dolphins secondary is legit. And without Elijah Moore out there, we saw what Elijah Moore did to that secondary when we versed him 4 weeks ago, 141 yards and a touchdown. I don't really have confidence in our receivers getting open if we couldn't do it against the Saints secondary, which is pretty good as well. I think that it's all about establishing a run game with Michael Carter and doing that Mike White type of style of dumping it off to the running backs, dumping it off to Michael Carter. Do not give Ty Johnson one target, first of all. Target Michael Carter in the passing game. Give him the ball in space, because if Elijah Moore is down and Michael Carter's coming back, you got to take advantage. I think that Michael Carter should at least minimum get 20 to 25, maybe even 25 targets, or what's the word of attempts and targets combined, like shares or whatever. Like he needs at least like 15 plus carries, 10 plus targets in the receiving game, because he's our only weapon on this offense that I can have confidence with. Because what he was doing, I think like we forget since he was injured for so long, like what Michael Carter was doing when he was healthy, it was blowing my mind. I never seen a Jets running back in so long be able to make people miss an open field like the way he does and like turn nothing into something. So he's a next level talent. And I hope that we rely on the run game, because that's going to set up Zach Wilson to get eased into the game. Because if the run game's not working, I think Zach Wilson's going to have a nightmarish game, similar to the Saints one where he's going to have a very low completion percentage, and just not be accurate with the ball. Because if you look at the Saints game, man, a lot of it obviously is on Zach, but there's a lot of things that did not go in his favor with the receivers in terms of timing. And that's on Zach. It's also on the receivers. You see him throw the ball like 5 yards in the wrong way where Keelan Cole's supposed to be. You don't know whose fault it is, but the timing is not there. He's getting a chemistry with Elijah Moore and Corey Davis, his two top guys. They're down. And now Zach's got to find a chemistry with these other guys. And right now he doesn't have it. So I'm not really expecting a big time performance from Zach. I hope he proves me wrong and has a decent game of like maybe one passing touchdown, one rushing touchdown, a pick. But like, I don't know. I just feel like the run game is going to be able to ease him into the game, set up the play action. And because that's really what I want to see from Zach Wilson all season long is a run game first that sets up the play action plays down the field. Because it's not even a receiver that I feel confident that can get open down the field, to be honest. I know Jamison Crowder is very reliable, but he was non-existent against the Saints. Very disappointed in him. Keelan Cole has been doing some things like just flashes here and there. And then Berrios is like the best receiver right now that's healthy, apparently. So I love Berrios so much. He had 6 receptions, led the Jets in receiving yards and targets and reception. So I don't know, man. This Dolphins defense scares me. They're red hot. They're coming off a bye. And I think it's all up to Michael Carter to help like bail out Zach Wilson.
Yeah, we got Coleman coming back too. So I don't think we have to worry about Ty Johnson at least.
Yeah, hope so.
What do you think? What are you thinking, John, for this matchup?
I think the 10 points is pretty fair. I think the Dolphins are 10 points better than the Jets. What do I want to see from Zach Wilson? I just want to see him be competent. I want to see him take care of the football. Honestly, at this point, I just need him to be efficient with the ball, be Alex Smith. You know, we mentioned him in this show, and just dump it off to Michael Carter. You know, get third and shorts and kind of just go back to the basics because we have nothing to lose at this point. There's no reason to like go kill yourself to win this game. You know what I mean? Let's just try to figure out what works with this squad. Michael Carter is going to be here. Zach Wilson's going to be here. Most of the offensive line is going to be here, whether we like it or not. All right. So let's see what we got on the offense. I ever since LaFleur went to the booth, I like this team. On the defensive side of the ball, I just hate Tua, man. I just hate Tua, and the Dolphins running backs I don't even know who's going to be their starting running back this week, right? Because Gaskin's out. I think their backup running back's out as well.
Philip Lindsay's out. It looks like
Philip Lindsay's out. Everybody has COVID.
Saleh Ahmed is out.
I don't know who is
It's like Malcolm Brown, maybe. I think that's the only guy I can think of.
Is Duke Johnson still there?
No, he's not. That's like when I look at that, our linebackers could handle that. CJ Mosley did back up his words. He's out here to play. Quincy Williams, he's there on or off. He had an off game last week, so I expect him to be on this week. You know, even that new safety, Elijah, was it Ridley or something like that? He did good last week. Riley, he did good last week. So, you know, I just feel like it's so sad, dude. I just feel like we're in preseason. This feels like a preseason game to me on both sides of the ball. Like, I feel like the Dolphins are in preseason, even though they're fighting for playoffs. They just stink so much. So I hope that the Jets play spoiler and win this game and beat the Dolphins.
I would love that.
I don't think the Dolphins are any good because I don't like the quarterback, and if they can't establish a run, they're going to have a problem. But Jaden Waddle is really good. And you're talking about receivers getting open, Richie. Like, real receivers in the NFL, you know, no disrespect, can get open against the Dolphins. They have elite secondary. They have elite corners. So, honestly, this game is Michael Carter or bust. This is Tevin Coleman or bust. And, like, you would rely on your tight ends in this game. And, I mean, all that being said, guys, we know what we have. Like, we know what our cards are. Like, you know what I'm saying? We know what our cards are: offensive line, at tight end, at running back, and at quarterback. So it's difficult to see a W here. I just see a disgusting game. I mean, if it wasn't for Houston versus Jacksonville, this would be the worst game of the week. So yeah. We're just above water there.
For sure.
It's not by much.
I agree with both of you. I think the thing for this game, I would like to see a similar recipe that we saw was pretty successful when Joe Flacco played against the Dolphins, which was a lot of checking down and just taking advantage of what the secondary was giving you when you're trying to push the ball downfield. So Michael Carter will have to be a big proponent, as well as Tevin Coleman. And you're gonna need our front seven to really stop that. You're gonna need our line to stop that Dolphins front seven if we're gonna have a chance as well, because we're gonna have to establish the run, as Richie pointed out in this game. What's going to be making or breaking this game, if the Jets are going to have any chance of winning, is the defense. Like, the defense has to show up, especially against a weakened Dolphins offense without their running game. Okay, Gaskin's been a huge proponent of that team. They love to establish the run first before they start letting Tua start passing the ball downfield. So if they don't have a running back, and we're using now the 4-string running back, CJ Mosley, Quincy, you guys got to eat, man. This is a prime opportunity. And this game is, I feel like, is going to be heavily dictated on how well the defense shows up for this game, because Devonta Parker can get it. Jalen Waddle can get it. All right. Mike Gesicki, he's a good tight end. These are good pass catchers that he has. Tua, not really consistent. He's got a good deep ball, but not that consistent to get it all of his receivers. But I think it's going to be one on the defense.
I like the under, baby.
What's the line? What's the line right now?
I think it opened up at like 44.5 and it's down to 42 or so.
Yeah,
I like the under.
I don't see either one of these teams exceeding 20 points.
Yeah.
I think
we're definitely not. So I'll tell you that much.
This will be a good defensive. This should be a good defensive game. Is what
28-13.
I think we're alluding to. 28-13. Okay.
We almost beat the Dolphins if it wasn't for those boneheaded penalties. We kind of beat ourselves in that game.
If it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Yeah.
The refs, damn it. God damn refs. Every week, man, I got an issue with the refs.
But shout out to our special teams. I'm hyped with them last week. So I think we're going to rely on our special teams this week too.
I want to talk about tempering expectations. I'm tempering my expectations. It was one good week.
Braden Mann and
Justin Hardy's going to be out, though. Our special teams ace. He's at COVID.
Oh, Hardy's out? Oh, no.
Yeah, he's on the COVID list. So watch us give up a punt or a kick return now for a touchdown without our ace.
Our ace gunner.
You're probably right.
Well, if we want to end on some good news before we get into our Knicks, shout out to Chad Pennington's son, Cole Pennington, for committing to play at Marshall. All right, there we go.
Hey,
wearing the number 10
he looks
too.
exactly like him. He looks
exactly like his pops. Looks exactly like his pops.
Really?
He's got the fresh, he's got the flow going too. You see that? He's got the flow going. He's like, all right, pops. You had it going a little bit. I could do it better. But shout out to the Pennington family. But now let's get into the other sorrow topic.
And speaking of COVID, like ravaging, teams,
the NFL, the NBA, everywhere.
The Knicks, man. The Knicks are being ravaged by COVID. But sometimes there's a positive that comes out. Like Deuce McBride getting some playing time last time, man. That was awesome.
Or even Quentin Grimes, the game before he went out for COVID. So, Richie, you are our guest. I'm going to start off with you, man. Once again, how are you feeling about
it all out, man?
Come on, man. Let's hear it, man. This is all emotional.
Give us your Knicks summary. You gave us a pretty dope Jet summary with the ups and downs. We're sitting here, what I call the NBA preseason. The preseason's almost over. Christmas right around the corner, where teams finally, you kind of see where teams are and where they have to go. What do you think about these Knicks, man? The players that we signed were finally allowed to trade them. Our boy Evan Fournier.
No, I do not want to hear that name on this podcast. Do not mention that name on this podcast.
What do you think, man? What do you think, Richie?
Yeah, so to summarize the Knicks season, I said the Jets season is up and down, up and down. The Knicks were up and down. That's it. Started 5-1. We're living on top of the world. The side talk video comes out. Knicks fans are like, we're not getting out of the second round. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, this is insane. Like, Knicks fans have waited for a team like this after coming off, that season last year. And then we all know where we're at right now. We lose I think we're 7-15 or something crazy after we started 5-1. And the biggest head scratcher I have with this team is the identity, because the identity of the team last year was defense. And Tom Thibodeau was, one of the greatest coaches in terms of his system on defense. And we saw that last year on full display. He comes in the first year. He wins coach of the year, rightfully so, bringing a Knicks team that was abysmal the year prior to the 4th seed, first place in pretty much every single defensive category known to man. All these players overachieving. And now here we are. The defense is just not stepping up. And I don't know if that's players not buying into the system or the system's outaged. I don't know what the issue is, but that's something that's a little concerning for me, because what made this team so good last year is not only their defense, but their tenacity, their energy, and outworking their opponents. And I feel like we don't have that same approach this year with this team. And that starts with the leaders on this team, like Julius Randle. It starts with, the veterans. It also starts with the youth. And I think Tom Thibodeau needs to realize that, these young players need some damn minutes. Obviously the COVID, it sucks, but like you mentioned, it does give opportunities to players like Quinn Grimes. We saw him go off for 27 on Sunday, and then he goes down. So then Deuce McBride gets an opportunity. He shows some insane confidence for a rookie, something I wish Zach Wilson shows. And he goes out there and it's like, wait, he needs minutes, because what does Deuce McBride bring to the table? Defensive energy. And that's what this team has been missing. And then even Kevin Knox filling in for Obi Toppin has been, he's been looking pretty good, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Kevin Knox is a completely different player to Obi Toppin. He stretches the floor, shoots threes, attacks the paint, not nearly as much as Obi. But it sucks that RJ has to go down, because RJ was in a big time slump for 13 games. After going on a 5-game stretch of having 20 plus points per game. And then he gets out of his slump, drops 31. Looks like he's about to have a really good stretch of games, and he gets on the COVID list. So, it's been a really interesting battle for this Knicks team. They are 12-16 right now. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of changes, and I don't know what it is. And the biggest thing I want to ask, like you guys, or I wish I can ask Tom Thibodeau or something, is like the whole Kemba Walker situation. Like, what are we doing with this? Because when the decision was made, I'm like, all right, I understand. The defense is not looking good. Give, Alec Burks, a more defensive-minded guy, the reins, and we'll see what we can do. But we're like 1-8 since that decision was made. We're 10-9 when Kemba was playing. So that makes you wonder, like, is Kemba ever going to play again on this team? Number one, is he going to be traded? Like, what's going on? And then obviously the elephant in the room, I won't mention his name because Alex said politely not to, but that free agent signing is not looking good. We signed him. He doesn't look like a system fit. He's not doing anything. He's doing cardio out there. All you got to do is hit your shots, and he's not doing that. The only value he brings to this team is supposed to be shooting, and that's not what he's doing. So I think that Julius Randle is the guy that needs to be the one to look at himself in the mirror and understand that I need to find the balance of being aggressive and getting my teammates involved, because it's either one or the other with Julius Randle. It's either he is totally unselfish and he's the primary ball handler, he's the playmaker, and he turns the ball over 8 times, and he doesn't look at the rim at all, and he shoots like 8 times. He's like 2 for 9 or something like that. Or it's the other way around, where he's completely, narrow-minded, going to the rim. I'm going to shoot every time and ISO and not get my teammates involved. He needs to find that balance because that's what made Julius Randle so great last year. Is number one, his perimeter shot was falling, and luckily against the Warriors last night, we saw that 3-point jump shot actually fall, which could be a good sign for this next couple of games that go in our favor the next couple of weeks, hopefully. But Randle really got to step up, because I can see that the body language is very lethargic for him. He doesn't seem as much bought in as he was last year. I don't know where he's at mentally in his life. It's something going on off the court. I know he got a newborn kid, but that's no excuse because the entire team has like newborns. But there's a lot of issues right now with the Knicks, and it's really frustrating. It begs the question of who's going to be moved. I feel like if this continues, the Knicks are going to have to make some type of move, and that's either moving on from Kemba, that's either moving on from the other guy, maybe making packaging Mitch, because I know that Mitch has been not looking good, especially when it comes to social media. Going out there and doing all his thing on Instagram stories. But at the end of the day, man, I think that the Knicks got to start playing with more intensity, and that's what they're lacking so far this year, unfortunately, for whatever reason.
That's a great 2 great summaries in a row from Richie. And if you guys aren't following Richie, you're making a goddamn mistake. This is why you go to his channel. Solos, man. This man goes on the rip for 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the video. He just gives you the analysis day in and day out. Make sure to go give our guy a follow, all right? No matter what team you follow. Jets media, Knicks media. If you're a Mets fan, I don't know. If you're a Met, actually, I won't say that. If you're a Mets fan because you're a fan of one of these other teams,
Max Scherzer, baby, come through.
All right, we're Yankees fans. We're not doing this. We're giving you.
Our video producer Greg is hyped right now.
He is way too hyped. Too hyped. Yankees are doing nothing. Mets are doing everything. I'm sick. Freaking sick. And I'll give you you can call this man F because the initials EF, whatever you want to go with. So we don't have to say that guy. But I'm just annoyed with him because he was showing some life slowly, and then it just went right back off a cliff. And now it's just legit cardio out there. And if the New York Knicks need anyone to run out there for about 29 minutes, give you some good cardio, no defense, no offense, I can do it for $200,000. I will save you. I'll save you that contract, New York Knicks. Please. I'll do it. But I agree with everything you said, Richie. Like there's a lot going on with this team, especially where they don't have an identity. Where last season was defense. You thought they were going to take that step to be more of an offensive-minded team, which hearing that under Tom Thibodeau is a little confusing because he is a defensive guy. So when you bring in EF and you bring in Kemba, you're like, all right, we get it. We're sacrificing some defense to really improve our offense because Randall was the only offense in the playoffs. So made a lot of sense on paper. On paper, these signings look great. You're like, wow, we got Kemba for $8 million 2 years in a row. We got EF for a three-year deal, $56 million. Last year's a team option. Not even a bad contract. It's still movable. I know people are out there saying it's a crippling contract. It's really not. This is like it's pretty middling for his caliber of player. He just does not fit here because in Orlando, and I'm going to stick on EF for a little bit. In Orlando, he was the second guy. He had the ball in his hands most of the times between him, Vooch, Terrence Ross. If you had DJ Augustine there, all those guys, and he was asked to do a lot of playmaking, a lot of shot creation, and he has to take a back seat to Julius Randle, to RJ Barrett. So that means less touches. He was in the top 2 or top 3 of usage down in Orlando. That has dropped since coming here. And it makes sense that all of his numbers and his stuff like that. He's not a defensive guy. But I get why he's struggling. For Kemba, it's the same thing. If you want the ball in Randall's hands, which personally I don't always want in his hands, I don't want him to bring it up all the time. That was the thing about another guy we won't have to mention from last season because everyone doesn't want to hear that guy either. That's at least what he would do. That point guard would bring up the ball, give it to Randall. It's like, okay, he did half the job that he was supposed to for 15 minutes. Carry on, Randall. We don't have that guy. We don't have that guy to do the more of the playmaking that we want from our point guard. So he's struggling. So now you're asking this guy to do everything once again, and he can't do everything because we saw that in year 1. Now, if you're asking me what do I think happens, I think we're going to see Kemba get moved, even though I think we did him dirty. Definitely. I think he has to get moved. There's no way he's staying here for the rest of the season. As much as I think about it, like I wrote for KFTV that there's a potential that he could keep the depth and have him here.
No.
I just think there's no way. The more and more I think about it
with all these injuries and COVID.
And that's the thing.
I was shocked they couldn't even get on the court yesterday, honestly.
And that's the thing. If he can't even get on the court when we're literally down guys, and we need some sort of shot creation, which he can do at least, and he's not touching the court, this guy's out of here. For EF, I'm fine moving him. Yeah, I really don't want to say it. He is really irritating the shit out of me, man. Especially with the State comment. The State comment just threw me for a loop. I think you got the right thing to do is to bench him, see if he works off the bench. And if that doesn't work, you move him. I don't care either way what happens to him personally. But John, how are you feeling, man?
I feel all right, man. I like our rookies with McBride and Grimes.
Yeah.
I do hope that they do find more time in their rotation like D Rose asked for as well. He sees it too. That's cool. I'm glad that he sees that. I hope that Obi Toppin gets more time in the starting lineup with Randall. I hope that we're more aggressive in dictating lineups on the floor with Obi at center, or when we're trying to create small ball, or if we're trying to be big and run teams off the floor, put Obi at small forward and throw in the center with Noel or Mitch. I'm starting to feel that Tibbs is losing confidence in Mitch Robinson. So that makes me think that Fournier, Robinson, and Kemba will be traded. And honestly, a little bit of Kevin Knox too. I think Kevin Knox's stock really, really, really rose in that Warriors game. The entire world was watching that Warriors game, and they saw Kevin Knox ball out. He got his hand in the passing lane. He looked pretty good. All his shots looked like they were good shots. And maybe they didn't notice that, they were finding his player and rotating the ball to him, to make sure he was open. I don't know. He's not out there to be a defensive specialist. But the only thing I'm going to say, Richie, that I don't agree with, I don't think your criticism of Randall's fair. And I don't think everyone's criticism of Randall's fair. I'm at the Garden yesterday fighting with the two guys in front of me who are diehard Knicks fans, because every time Randall gets the ball, they're like, they're trying to be funny. Oh no. Oh, he's about, dude, he had 31 points yesterday. Like, you understand, without Randall, we lose games by 30. Like, and it's not like, oh, he scored 30, we're going to lose by 30. Like, not that simple. He's bailing us out. Like, Tibbs has no offensive prowess. He just doesn't. He just like, here, Randall, please score for us. Here, Evan Fournier, please score for us. And we've realized that's not a thing. So, to be honest with you, I am thankful for Julius Randle. I'm sick of the Julius Randle slander. It's completely unfair that last year we all sat here and confessed and repented for our sins for, throwing Randle under the bus. We're so sorry, Randle. You're the man. We accept you. You're our king. Look what you did for us. And then literally, we're not even at the Christmas game yet. We've traded him. We are upset when he gets the ball. And meanwhile, we have nobody. Like, we have nobody with the team. The two free agent signings that you guys said are busts for whatever reason, whether he stinks or whether the team doesn't like him anymore, and Fournier and Kemba.
Really hurt me over here.
I mean, Randall he's doing everything the guy can. He did in the third quarter yesterday. I can't believe nobody's talked about this. I listened to all the Knicks media stuff. I've listened to the stupid national shows. I didn't expect them to talk about it. And I listened to our post game, like on MSG and stuff too. Nobody's talking about how Randall in the third quarter did everything, even the good and the bad.
I did on my recap video.
All right. I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to hold Richie accountable for that. And I'll take my words back, because, dude, I'm watching that game. Randall did absolutely everything, the good and the bad. He made plays for himself. He had the defense collapse so he could find people open. He was getting charges. He was getting bad foul calls on him and complaining to the ref. He was getting turnovers. Like, he was doing everything, like every single thing he was doing. And it's so embarrassing that we're sitting here at home during this game. Not only is it embarrassing that we had this whole stupid thing for Steph Curry, like, I was over it after like 10 seconds. All right. With the music.
We had a post game during the middle of the game. First quarter, not even in the middle of the game.
So like that was a little annoying. But then, like, on top of that, all of a sudden, every time Julius Randle gets the ball, we have to be upset. Like, who do you want to get the ball? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, okay, you don't want Randle to get the ball, like versus the Warriors game, right? RJ's out, Obi's out, Kemba's on the bench. Who do you want to get the ball? Like, I honestly don't understand. So I'm getting a little frustrated with the Randall slander, and I honestly don't think it's fair. And it's kind of giving some merit to people when they trash the Knicks fans and and how we're so up and down and how we're just like crazy people yelling. And the last thing, I hate Bing Bong. I literally hate it. I hate when they and I've never been to the Garden where they use it so many times.
It's gross.
Like usually it's just once in the game, maybe twice. It was like 4 or 5 times. It's embarrassing, yo. It was a national TV game. Everyone was watching, yo. Why you keep doing Bing Bong? I'd rather the organ. They like didn't use the organ really. Like, I feel like last game. Jeez, I don't know. I'm
let it all out, John. Let it all out, man. Let it all out,
annoyed, dude. Like, I'm at all these games, like high profile games, Bulls games, Warriors games, and like we're asking Randall to do everything. We're asking, like,
I don't know. I don't know, man. There's no point guard. How do you want Mitch Robinson to do good with no point guard? How do you want you want Evan Fournier to do good without a point guard? How?
Really killing me, man.
I'm just letting you know, like it's just impossible. And it's just like asking the Jets, or this is the Jets pod. I know we're off the rails here, but it's like asking the Jets to do good without a quarterback. Like the Knicks don't have a point guard. How do you expect these players to do well? And that's my take. The Knicks are never going to do well until we get a point guard. We can. Is that Miles McBride though? That's my question to you guys, because to be honest with you, off of one game, it sounds insane. I made fun of Alex. Hand up. I made fun of Alex. Asked me this question like 3 weeks ago. I was like, Alex, stop talking. He's like, is Miles? Do we have our point guard on this team? After watching him yesterday in person, he looks pretty good, man. He looks pretty good.
How the tides have turned. How the tides have turned.
The way he dribbled, he was dribbling the ball down to the floor. He was very mechanical in his movements. He was getting to the right spot. His hand was in the passing lane. He was playing good defense. He was fighting through screens. I'm just saying. I like Miles McBride. I want him to play. That's all I'm going to say. I want Miles McBride to play basketball.
We need Grimes to play. We need Miles McBride to play. And real quick, just on the Randall topic, I know that I gave my little critique on him, but I'm not a trade Randall fan. I think that is just nonsense. I'm actually someone that defends Julius on a lot of things. And whenever I see, like I tweeted yesterday, my takeaways from the game. And I said that Julius Randle had a phenomenal second half, played with heart, and the tweet blew up. And so many Knicks fans are like, Randle had a phenomenal second half. What game were you watching? It was garbage time. I'm like, what? Like Randle literally did everything in that third quarter. Nobody scored once in that third quarter besides him, and he was hitting his shots in the fourth quarter. Like, what else do you want when we're down going up against a top team in the league in the Warriors? And I just feel like Randle is, asked to do a lot right now, and I feel like he just needs to. I feel like this year for Randle, what's holding him back is his perimeter shot. I feel like that's why he was so good last year, because that 41% from three, I don't think he's going to be able to replicate that again. But I feel like. I just want to see Randall be more aggressive and get back to that way last year. I believe in him. I still think he's the future of this team. And I think that we still got to build around him. I think he's part of the future with this team. And I don't understand why Knicks fans are so reactive to jump ship on him off of like the first 30 games of the season. It really is unfortunate that, but it's the end of the day when you're a New York fan of the Jets and the Knicks, for example, you're very reactive and impulsive and you let your emotions get to you. So it's the world we live in as New York sports fans.
And that's welcome to this podcast. But I agree with you, Richie. Like, I agree with you 100%. And like, especially for Randall, right? Because he did have a good second half. He scored 10 to 15 points alone in that third quarter. Without those 10 to 15 points, we're doomed. We're just looking at the game like, great. We let Steph Curry win and get the 3-point record. And I didn't know we were in the Chase Arena. I thought this was Madison Square Garden. So I agree with you 100%. And I don't it's hard, man. Like it is. I feel so bad for Randall. Like I critique him too. And I talk about effort with him. I talk about giving more defensive intensity. He's the leader. He's the $100 million man. Like I have high expectations for Randall. And there are games where he does not meet up to those expectations. Okay. Against the Bucks, he did not meet up to those expectations. But last night, I can't kill the guy because he finally put it together and gave us 31 points. So I agree with you 100%.
He needs the braids back.
Hot take. I haven't heard that take yet, actually.
Haven't heard that one in a little bit too.
He
needs it. He needs him. He needs to get the cornrows
and
back.
He needs
going.
IQ, but
and he needs help. The thing is, like, when you look at this team, it is more than just Randall that is hurting. It is everybody that is hurting.
If IQ was hot last night, and if D Rose was hot in the second half like it was in the first half, we could have won that game.
We're talking about a totally different game. 100%. IQ is down right now, shooting wise. He's doing a lot of other good things, playing defense, pushing pace, playmaking. Like, we're seeing growth in there. His shot hasn't even started to fall yet. And that's a struggle for this team. You have Alec Burks who's struggling, who played 39 minutes last night. What happened?
Can I just say IQ, my like tinfoil hat, and why IQ
His shot hasn't been smooth yet. He's getting bigger. He is big. Like when I saw him in person, his legs are way bigger than I thought. His shoulders are way broader than I thought.
He's
like,
in the weight room all the time.
Yeah, we talk about Mitch Robinson. I think low key IQ got jacked this offseason.
He did.
I think he's still growing, and I think that kind of affects your shot a little bit. I think IQ is going to be so good in one more year.
I don't want anyone. I don't want any one of these guys to be traded.
He's untouchable for me.
Yeah,
IQ's untouchable for me, to be honest with you guys.
I was listening to SNY today, their round table, and they were talking about potential trade candidates for Miles Turner. They're talking about potentially throwing Obi Toppin, Emmanuel quickly. I was like, stop that right now. Miles Turner would be an upgrade. Please, let's find something else. I would much rather bring in Andre Drummond next year on a team-friendly deal.
Wow.
You know how I feel.
Oh, wow. This guy hates Andre Drummond more than anyone on earth.
So you know how I feel when I'm like, I'll gladly do that option and trade those guys.
All right. Let's end this Jets episode. I just have a question. Are they untouchable? Who else is untouchable for you guys? For me, Obi's untouchable, RJ's untouchable, and IQ.
Yeah. Those are the main three guys for me, and I want to say Grimes and Deuce low key, but
yeah, of course. I don't think they'll go anywhere either.
I mean, I agree with you, all of those guys for the young guys. Like I agree with them that they're untouchable. Like obviously, it's like you getting some crazy like haul in return for somebody, but as of like if you're telling me, hey, we gotta throw in Emmanuel quickly for Miles Turner, I'm gonna look at you sideways. Like, is Miles Turner worth that much to you? No, I'm sorry, he's not. Like he would be an improvement at center, but he's also not worth the potential upside that you're getting in Emmanuel quickly, in my opinion.
He's not leading us to the playoffs. Like he's just a guy that's gonna be able to stretch the floor and block shots. Yeah. Like he's a good player, upgrade, but not worth quickly or Obi.
And when I look at and this is my thing for centers, when I look at centers around the league, they're so entertaining. You show me $100 million. Not 100, because I like Jared Allen. You show me an overpaid, high-priced center like Rudy Gobert that's taking you to the playoffs. Show me right now. Show me, show me that right now. The centers are like the running back position in the NFL. They're so interchangeable. You can get them at a good. You need them.
Okay.
Yeah, you need them. But I don't think you have to That's my opinion, man.
You ever hear this guy? He was the MVP last year. You ever heard of him?
That is a different story. Yo, we're talking about an elite center, okay? Like, I would love to have
Anthony Towns.
Nah, now we're really going off the deep end.
Anthony Davis.
I like Anthony Davis. He considers himself a power forward, not a center, though.
What about Joel Embiid?
Joel Embiid.
I would love Joel Embiid. I love like these guys.
Cat.
I'm gonna and I'll ask you these questions. What championship have these guys won?
None, baby.
I don't know.
I like them. The center is important. If you're telling me I'm getting one of those type of centers, 100% I'll pay them. 100% I'll pay them. But I look at someone like Brook Lopez, and I'm like, granted they have Giannis.
Come on.
Hey,
that's tough. He's 150 years old, getting surgeries, and now he's shooting threes.
You would love to extend. You love to really exaggerate these ages. Rich Samini is 1 million years old. Brook Lopez 100 million years old.
Yes, to both of those guys. What are you talking about? Yeah, those are my examples that you're trying to hit me on. Rich Samini's covered the New York Titans before they were the New York Jets, and Brook Lopez is playing with Jason Kidd, bro. What are you talking about? Yeah. Yes.
Oh man.
Yes to both of those.
Oh man, I love it. Whoo, but this is a good place to end it. I love it. I love laughing. Love it. But yeah, I love all the young kids. I want all the young kids to get these minutes, man. I think the Knicks need to do it. And look, man, I'm hoping for a Jets win this Sunday. I want to see them upset the Dolphins. I need that too. I know it's for nothing at this point, but I like seeing our teams get some wins.
Squish the fish, baby. Till I die. I always want to squish the fish.
Just for my AFC East roundtable nonsense I have to go through every Wednesday night. Please beat the fish.
Yeah, I know. You do go through a lot there, Richie.
You go through a lot. That roundtable is very interesting, and the Dolphins fan is a little interesting to say the least, my man. Interesting to say the least.
I'll be on my channel tonight in a half hour. So,
but Richie,
we'll see you
thank you. Thank you once again, Richie, for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you, talking Knicks, Jets. Please let our listeners know etc. Please let our listeners know where they can go find you and your awesome content.
Yeah, man. You guys know where to find me. Richie Mollura on my personal. That's last name Mollura. And Jets Media, Knicks Media, Mets Media if you're a Mets fan. And I also have an NFL channel called Touchdown Kingdom. I come out with weekly predictions over there. Basically score predictions of each game throughout every single week. So you guys know where to find me, and I appreciate all the support. It means so much to be part of this community. To meet guys like yourself. It's really awesome that we're just, creating our own platform and, bringing some content to like-minded fans around the world that, obviously we can turn on ESPN and NFL Network and all these, national televised stuff. But, us fans are just as passionate and knowledgeable as anybody else. And anybody that's listening is the same way. So I appreciate all the support. And I'm very thankful that you guys reached out to me again to be on your show. It's also, always a great time to talk to you fellows about the Jets and the Knicks. Thank you again.
Facts.
Richie's channel is really cool because you can live comment and he's really interactive with that, and he throws it right in without even missing a beat, without even because he's been on it for so long. So it's really cool. It's really smooth. So definitely check out those live YouTube hits.
Yeah, and I'm also live during the Jets games if you're ever interested. It's not for everybody, but some people don't have access to the games and they hear me. I live react to it. I give like my own broadcast in a way, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're ever watching the Jets game and you want to hear my reaction to whatever's going on, just type in Jets Media and I'll be live for the next 4 Sundays. Pretty wild.
Love that.
Nice. I did catch one. I did see that you were live, and I think it was against the Titans. You were the hype.
One.
The hype. You were so hyped for that touchdown. You were just like,
that was like basically everything I ever wanted to witness as a Jets fan, because I never thought it would ever happen. Just a play like that was just like, it's happening in that moment. Obviously, it's not really happening anymore, but I knew it wasn't gonna last. So that's why I was just like, just letting all my energy out, like all the frustration. Like, wow, we got a highlight.
There we go. Yeah, highlight reel. Hey, Zach Wilson, was he got twice, right? He's been an offensive player of the week for the right.
Twice, baby.
Twice.
He's gonna win his third, not this week against the Jaguars.
There we go. That's the energy I like. All right, thank you, Richie, for coming on. Thank you to our awesome listeners. All right, and you know what to do. You know the call to action. If you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, please make sure to give us a 5-star review and to leave a comment. It helps us out oh so greatly. But if you don't listen there, it's okay. We're on Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. We're also on YouTube now. We got the channel up and going. All right. Just type in Knicks, Jets, etc. period. We don't write etc. out. That's just wild. But make sure to go there. Subscribe to our video. Subscribe to the channel.
Serial killers.
Yeah, we're not. Make sure to hit the like button when you're watching the video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when a new episode drops. And while you're there, we got Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, go down the NFL slate, give you their takes on who to bet on, spreads, money line. You know what it is. They give you all that stuff. Still don't know why Greg loves betting on the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Bears. But hey, you do you, pal. You do you. And last but certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All right, everyone. We'll catch you next week for the rapid reaction of the Jets versus the Dolphins. We out.
Let's go Jets and let's go Knicks, baby.